Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Political Brown Kid here. And I just had to react to, and I'm probably a little bit late, but I just have to react to this video that's been going at least viral within my algorithm on YouTube. And that is the video in which a female, Eboni K. Williams, don't know what her professional background is, but Eboni K. Williams and Iyanla Vanzant exchange. Just for anyone who has not seen it, just to kind of catch everyone up. I guess the conversation have to give a little bit of context because just the highlight of the video went viral, but there was more context around that. It was really more a discussion in regards to not there not being really enough eligible men within the pool, a diverse or a good pickings of men to choose from within a particular pool of applicants, so to speak. At least that's what Eboni K. Williams was kind of talking about. And so Iyanla posed a question to her, and the question was, would you date a bus driver? I guess suggesting from Iyanla's, from what I'm taking from this conversation, see, everyone's looking at this from a narrow-minded perspective because I just saw another female. She had a reaction video, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But Iyanla's was basically trying to say, well, let's look at a more diverse. If you're saying that your filter or that your pool of applicants is small, what are your filters? Is the bus driver included in that? Are you excluding certain men? And so when Iyanla asked the question, would you date a bus driver? Eboni K. Williams' response was, if he owned the bus. Now so a lot of people took that as she's saying that I wouldn't date a particular profession because either that profession is beneath her and she's, she doesn't consider it dignified or enough to, glorified enough to capture her attention, or, maybe the monetary, the pay for that position isn't good. Eboni came back to kind of clarify, to say that she was basically saying that it was more about if the man is driven, if he has particular goals and aspirations. So therefore, aspiring to own the bus, was more of her thing. Now, that's just her stance. And, so I'm just putting that out there, whether you want to believe her or not on that. Then this other video came out by another female, a black female came out, where she was basically saying, now everyone's kind of looking at it from a different lens, saying that black women have to, why is it that black women have to dumb down their standards for men, and why do they have to date lesser thans, quote unquote, or I shouldn't say quote unquote because that's not a quote, but just kind of paraphrasing. She's basically saying that, when people look at black women are the only group, female group, ethnic group that has to look at men who, do, I guess, lesser than, or these, blue collar type jobs. And so I kind of had an issue with that. Because, number one, Iyanla Vanzant was just saying women in general, and she made that comment, but because it was a conversation, and this is typically what is done in the black community, is that anytime you're having black conversations, people automatically assume that this is a black issue, and that was totally not the case. Iyanla said women in general. She even did a follow-up video where she had a white female call in and express her experience dating someone who makes less than her. So that was context. So even a white female chimed in on a later platform to give her opinion about dating, quote unquote, down economically or professionally, whatever you want to call it. So it wasn't even about that. So then you have these people misconstruing and saying it's a racial thing that black women have to date down, and that's not it. Because there are a lot of other women that date men of various professions. You go there are women dating coal miners. There are women dating guys that don't work, period. And those women are the breadwinners. And these are coming from non-black, non-melanated households. So the conversation wasn't even about that. But they turned it into that type of particular conversation. But what I want to focus on is this, and I'm 5 minutes in, my focus really is this. And I've said it in various other videos, but my video, of course, I have a very small platform here and I'm not really catching on. So hopefully you can help me catch on and spread the word and spread the message so that people can at least chime in and hear this perspective. The perspective I'm looking at, and I'm going to look at this specifically from a Black perspective. I'm coming at this from a Black perspective, is that Black people don't love one another. We don't find each other attractive. That's the bottom line. And I'll even say that from a male perspective, looking at a female, and versa vice. When you look at the professionals, specifically as you start getting up into like the 30, people dating in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, when you look at those individuals, if you're a man, and I'm going to look at it from my perspective first before I look at it from Ebony K. Williams' perspective. But when you're a man, and if you're a man that's successful, if you're like middle class, or upper class Black male, and you are trying to date, number one, it is going to go back to, and I hate to kind of keep using this terminology because it circulates on the internet, but it does go back to the fit, feminine, and friendly. You're not, number one, you're not going to find a bunch of fit Black females out there. You're just not. The ones that you're going to find, they're looking for a totally different type of man than you. And vice versa. You're not going to find a lot of fit Black males that are in their late years, because assumably when you're looking at people that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, there are several factors that probably have occurred. Number one, they probably just had either a poor diet their whole life. You know how people used to eat. When you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you're either from Generation X or you're from Generation Y, which is the Generation Y of the millennials. Generation X is just Gen X. And you're looking at it, you had those particular poor diets where there was more fried foods. There was more of a mentality of finishing your plate, and just you had a different mentality. So you're going to find a lot of those poor habits that have led to individuals being just bigger. Or what you're going to find too is that you're going to find that those individuals in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're in a particular bracket where they're making good money. They focused on educate. When you're starting to focus on education, you don't have those type of blue collar type jobs of construction. So construction workers are getting physical activity all day long because that's their job. They're walking around, they're carrying stuff, they're lifting stuff, they're doing manual physical labor as a job. But when you start looking at working professionals that are in those 30s, 40s, and 50s range, you're more of the academics. So you've been in the classroom sitting down all day. The only thing you've been doing is really exercising your mind. And a lot of those people, they've been so career focused that they've neglected their bodies. That's Black women and Black men. And it's other races too, but in this focus, I'm just focusing on Black people. I'm just focusing on us melanated Nubians. That's all I'm doing. So when you look at those individuals, that's what it is. They've exercised their mind, they haven't exercised their body. Then they've gone into the working world, and they've been in the working world, and they're sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day. That's all they've been doing. And most of the exercise is neglected. That's one variable. That's another variable in addition to just having a poor diet and just being overweight. The other variable too is that you're older, and that the older you get and the more that you're in the working world, you're outside, when you're outside of your teens and your early 20s, you have less of a rat pack that you've been running around with. As a guy, your wolf pack is probably not as big as it used to be, or you don't fellowship as much, so you're more or less in the house. In addition to working, if you've probably been in a relationship and you may be newly divorced, and in that relationship, usually when you get married, you let yourself go, and you just both individuals or one individual has let themselves go, and now you have to get back into. Now you're presenting yourself back into the single market as a bigger individual who's put their family and their marriage first, and you didn't really take care of your body throughout that marriage. So that's another variable that's going into place. And so now this is the market that black men and black women have to choose from. So when you're a successful black male or a successful black female, the successful black male is like, let me see if I can find someone who, well, number one, what I'll say what is this, men are at least a little bit more, women don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. Men are at least a little bit more accommodating. The man may be heavy, he may be a heavier guy, let himself go a little bit. He may have it economically. He may have, he may be a good provider. He can provide financially. He can provide, a house, shelter, and all that good stuff. He may be good, handyman, have good vision, good drive, good working professional. But what I will say with that man is he will settle for something different. He may say, okay, well, he's going to look for an attractive woman. Of course, he's going to want a woman that's in shape, even if he's not. Of course, everyone's going to strive for a woman that's in shape, has a nice shape, has that's easy on the eyes, that is attractive. But he will settle for something different. He'll date down. He'll be like, well, if she doesn't have money, that's not a problem because I have it. I'm good. I can provide that for both of us. I can provide a particular life if she's not financially there, that's no problem. He may even like that more because he's seen as the provider and he's seen as the one on top. Also, too, if he can't find a woman that is, like very fit and have a nice figure and is attractive, he'll settle for either one or the other. He'll settle for maybe an attractive woman that's a little bit heavy, or he'll settle for a woman who has a great physique, but she's not very attractive. He'll compromise as long as that woman is into him. So he'll compromise on those things. The unfortunate part for women, and like Eboni K. Williams, and I shouldn't say like her because I don't know kind of what her background is, but I'm just kind of deducing, or should I say I'm going to make assumptions. The problem is for women is that women want it all. Women will say, well, if I'm making XYZ dollars and I'm very attractive, I want a man who's also very attractive. He has to be very attractive and he has to match my salary. And that possibly could be hard to do within the black community. Find that someone that's single, that's, find a male looking at it from a female perspective, looking for a male that is single within her age bracket, within her socioeconomic bracket, but then she's going to also throw into the factor that he has to look a particular way. He has to have six-pack abs. He has to be 5'10", 5'11", or really particularly, she wants him 6'2", 6'3". And he has to also have a good head on his shoulders. And then also they're going to throw into the mix, this is what I continually hear, she wants him to be able to travel all over the world, have a passport, be able to get a passport. She wants him to travel and just do all of these fantastical things in life. So you're going to have to compromise, as women, you're going to have to compromise on some of these things that you want. So you're going to have to pull back on some of this stuff. And again, like I said, we do not find each other attractive. We're just looking at it, number one, either we're both not fit, either it's the men and or the women, and or when you're looking at them, they just don't have the look. And of course, the more that we start interacting as Nubians, as black people within this European world, and the more you're finding all of this intermingling and black people becoming lighter and lighter and lighter, black people having, less kinkier hair. Our hair is getting, finer, fairer and fairer and fairer, or finer and finer and finer, whichever way you want to put it. The more those features are coming into place, the more people are saying, I want this type of person. I don't want this person that has this phenotype, that has this particular type of look. And that's what we're doing. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of the women too. And a lot of times too, the other factor that's coming to it as well is that you're seeing a lot of females, and I'm not dumping on females, but this is a serious problem. You're seeing a lot of females, and I'm saying black females. When I'm saying females, I'm looking at black females. They have really adopted European habits. They have adopted when I say habits, I'm talking about bad European habits. Black women in the early, 80s And before that time, wearing weaves weren't a thing for us. Now wearing weaves is like, that's secondhand nature. As soon as you wake up, it's like a part of your routine. It's like considered a standard. Getting augmentation, whether it be breast augmentation or butt augmentations, whether it be removing ribs, whether it be, cosmetic surgery, liposuction, nose jobs, lip enhancements, all of that stuff. Black people did not do this. And now that we've become totally assimilated into American society, that's all we do. So it's become the standard for women who, again, compete with other women. They don't compete to get a man. They compete, as far as for their appearance, they compete with other women because they want to say, I want to look like this other woman and I want to top her. So they're getting these augmentations because they're running over to, as you can see, they're running to other countries like Mexico and so forth to get these, discounted surgeries and getting their teeth whitened and so forth. So we don't find each other attractive because now since they're getting all of these augmentations, they're saying, since I look like this, since I look like a 10, because I've had all of this plastic surgery work done, I expect my man to look like a 10. And so that's what they're expecting when they know that that's not their natural state. So, it's not I'm trying to dump, but I'm just trying to let you see it from a male's perspective. But also, too, again, I do believe that we just don't like each other. We don't find each other attractive. And one other point that I'll bring up on this to kind of prove this point is you can even look at the statement made by DeBrat and her partner, her female partner. They just went through in vitro. If for those who don't know, they just went and I guess had in vitro fertilization or whatever you want to call it. When you have two female couples, two female partners together in a relationship, of course they can't reproduce, so they have to go to a sperm bank. They have to use one of their eggs, and they have to fertilize one of their eggs. So they went to a sperm bank, and she said that the options for there's a little bit more to it. She was basically saying too that she had some genetic defects, and they needed to find genetic matches, so that played a role in who they could choose as a donor. But they brought up the fact that the one black donor looked like Jiminy Cricket. The one, or the few option that they had, he looked like Jiminy Cricket or something like that. So basically she was saying that he was ugly. They didn't like the way he looked, so they picked a white donor. They picked a white man's sperm. Once again, we don't find each other attractive. Again, when you're looking at it from a market perspective and you're looking at it from a woman like, I'm not trying to say Ebony K. Williams, but a woman like her who's in her socioeconomic bracket, in her age bracket, which she looks like she's, I would say late 30s at least. She's in late 30s to late 40s, maybe even early 50, I don't know. But when you're looking at a woman in that bracket who's settled, who's accomplished, I don't know how accomplished she is, but I'm assuming that she's probably in a certain socioeconomic bracket. She has a particular look. She's, relatively attractive, I guess. I say she's, average, I would say she's average attraction. She does look like she's average fit, as far as physique. She's just looking at the pool of black men, and either those black men are heavy, those single black men, they're either heavier, and they're not in shape like she wants them to be, or they just don't have good physical features as far as facial features. And that's just the bottom line. And if they do, they're the thugged out jokers that, are in the streets that are probably the bus drivers or the blue collar workers, the ones that are doing the more manual labor, or they're doing nothing at all. And that's what they have to choose from. So that's why they look at it as dating down. Whereas a man, he doesn't look at it when he's dating a woman who has less than him. He doesn't look at it as dating down. He just looks at it as, I found somebody that compliments me, that's going to respect me and support me. So that's just my take on this whole conversation. Once again, this is a Political Brown Kid trying to drop more content. Again, please hit the like and subscribe button because we definitely want to reach more people. But take care, be well.